Hello, my name is Graziella Jackson. I'm a playwright based in the DC area, and I'm so excited to be a part of Keegan Theater's Boiler Room series this year. I'm here to share a little bit about the play that I'm developing that will be a part of the new play development series coming in May. I'm working on a cycle of 4 plays inspired by the broad issue of climate change and thinking about how to tell really intimate stories about climate change that could draw us into the experiences that everyday people have in a variety of communities with this huge global issue that is affecting our lives every day. When I first started to work with the amazing artistic team at Keegan, with Josh and Susan and others, we really wanted to ask the question of how we could tell a story of climate change that really dives into the experience that we are having as individuals and as communities with this major global issue every day, the messages that we're encountering online and social media, in the media in general, the ways that it manifests in our behaviors and choices, and how we might be able to come together as people and communities to really start to ask questions about and drive actions towards solving this really big issue. So when I started to first conceive of this play, I really thought you can't tell this story in just one moment, one community in one moment. And so I conceived of it as a 4-play cycle called the Elements Plays. One of the challenges in writing a story about climate change is it's such a huge and complex issue that it's really hard to break it down into a small story that we could really dive into and feel and understand and embrace kind of the emotional experience of people who are dealing with major issues related to this every day. And so I wanted to center these plays in very intimate stories located across the United States in communities that were largely rural and or agricultural, and who were dealing with very real challenges, things like water scarcity and forest fires and things that are actually today on the ground impacting communities, their livelihood, their ways of lives, their ways of life, and their ability to come together to solve some of these challenges. The first play in the cycle is titled The Wilting Point. It's set in the Sangre de Cristo mountains in southwestern Colorado, where there's a centuries-old farming tradition called acequia farms. Acequia is channel irrigation. It's a tradition that started in northern Africa, the Middle East, came to the Iberian Peninsula, and then by way of colonization found itself in Mexico and in the southern United States. Still a practice that is followed today by very rich farming communities who have come up with entire community structures around democratizing water and using water to benefit the community as a whole. And so I was really interested in telling a story set in that setting, but also to think about the intersection of that very local way of life, that very local way of grappling with this challenge, and looking at how media representation affects the way we are able to understand this problem, to see how a global issue is tackled in a local context, and to really think about the issue of climate justice and the way that climate change is affecting especially communities of color, Indigenous communities, and communities that are local in nature. And so the Wilting Point follows the story of a young person a teenager who is a climate activist on the rise, and their desire to save their community and their way of life from disappearing as water becomes more and more scarce. It's a multi-generational story, so the relationship of that young person with their older generations, those who have been farming in this way for many years and are also trying to preserve their way of life in different ways, and an outsider, a media representative, a world-known, award-winning journalist turned podcast producer who is coming into the community to follow up on a story they had written and really bring that story to life for a streaming series. And all of this is happening at a time where global billionaires are expanding their work into space and really trying to think about what the future might look like to leave this planet behind and pursue life for humanity on another planet. And so it is this coming together of local and global influences, media as a tool for both building and damaging communities, identity, and also what it means to protect this planet that we live on and think about life after this planet if we're not able to protect it. And so that is what the Wilting Point is about. It's the first in a series of 4 plays called the Elements Plays. And I look forward to the challenge of writing the next 4 in this series and to having you with us during the new play development series in the end of May. Thanks so much. Bye.